Hey, what's up? This is Sifu Cuddle, and we're going to be working with double swords for a double upward flower. Now, this is an easy upward flower technique. I have made a video for this in the past, but I wanted to add some extra information to it. So if you know how to do this, awesome, keep up the good work. And if you don't know how to do this, grab some swords, grab some foam weapons, grab some short sticks, and let's get to work. Okay, so to get started, I'm actually going to use these foam weapons so that you can identify which weapon is in which hand when you do this. Now, I do like to perform these with blades, but a good way to train is to use foam weapons or to use short sticks. Now notice also, I'm not grabbing at the very bottom. I need an axis of rotation and I need a little bit of weight on the bottom side of the hand. So having a little extra room here, this would be where the pommel is on the sword. That's going to give you a little bit more flexibility and a little more speed when it comes to the rotation itself. Okay, now, first thing you need to be able to do is an upward figure eight. Now, this is a simple and basic sword flowering motion, but if you don't know how to do this with both your right and your left hand, you're going to have a hard time learning this. So if you don't know how to do this, check out, I'll leave a video in the description. It's in my sword training playlist. Check that video out, learn how to do it, and make sure that you can do it fluently on both your right and your left side. Okay? Okay, so if you can do that flower, I want you to get comfortable with one arm crossing over your other. Now, for this video, I'm going to keep my left hand's going to have the red sword, my right hand's going to have the black sword, and I usually perform this flower with my right hand over my left. My left hand will always be underneath. Now, later on we'll work on an advanced version of this where both hands go underneath, but for the most part, and it's most common, your left hand will be underneath the right when performing this one. So what I want you to do is just place your right hand on the left elbow and then work on your flower. Just get comfortable doing the upward flower from this position. Now, it's a little strange to do at first, but once you get comfortable with it, it'll take one less thing off your mind when you're actually doing the full motion. Okay, so for this next step, we're going to take the flowering out of it. We're going to isolate parts of the technique. Now, I still have the red blade in my left hand and the black blade in my right hand. Now, I'm going to again start with the hands crossed. And then what I'm going to do is come in upward and diagonal across. Now for this one, go ahead and take as much space as you want. You don't have to do this in a small, compact motion. The bigger the better, so you can understand the motion itself. But I'm going to start with both blades pointing back, and then I'm going to bring my left hand up and diagonal across first, and then my right hand up and diagonal across first. So again from here, crossing over, 1, 2. Again with my right hand on top, right by that elbow, 1, 2. Okay, so I'm going to just practice bringing the hand up here. So 1, 2. Now, if you're working with sticks and not blades, it's important to remember and be aware of where the blade edge would be. So a good way of knowing is just going off of these knuckles right here, this ridge of knuckles. That's pretty much where the blade edge will be. So don't bring your hand up this way, because then the blade edge is actually pointing away from your intended target. We want to actually be cutting upward. So make sure that you lead with those knuckles as we do this. So both hands are cutting upward, 1, 2, okay? Now, we can add to this by simply, just from the hands dropping back, not crossing this time, left hand leading first, followed by the right hand, okay? So again, cross the arms, left hand, right hand, uncross the arms, left hand, right hand. So we're cutting upward and diagonal across the body. Left hand, right hand, drop the hands back, left hand, right hand. As you get comfortable with this, keep the motion big. You can open it up. It's not going to be your best looking flower, but this is the flowering motion itself. This way, pay attention to where your blade edge would be, and then you can also start ironing out some of the little things that happen. Now make sure you keep it on the sides of the body. That's why we have to cross over. If you're doing just a regular front flower, it's easy to get sloppy and let the hand kind of go side to side, and the tip of the blade never goes behind the body. And that's one of the most important things, is that you actually go next to the body here. When it comes down to doing this double flower, you have to go alongside of the body. You cannot keep it out in the front right here. That's going to get yourself all tangled up. So make sure it goes along the outside of the body. Okay, for this next one, this is if you've done the other ones but you just don't feel the flow, or you just can't start off with your timing. And this is just a little simple tip, okay? So what I like to do sometimes is keep the blades together when I teach this one, and then have people work on a double upward flower this way, okay? Now once you get the hang of that, you can start alternating your timing a little bit, so it almost gets a little bit sloppier until you get the timing of each weapon opposite each other. Now it doesn't always work, but it's a nice way to get kind of started if you ever lose your pace, so that way you can have one that leads the other. Now as you get comfortable working with these flowers, instead of working in these huge big motions, try to tighten it up. Now it's not always going to be one hand in contact with the other, so I do end up crossing my right hand over and making contact here, but I will uncross and lose that contact. The main thing again is that I get that forward flower, I get that forward rotation, and then I keep the weapons actually next to my body rather than out to the side. You don't want to end up doing this stuff. Now work on this, do it as much as you can. That's the best way to get better. The grip doesn't have to be too strong. I like to actually just grab with the first two fingers and the thumb. That allows some flexibility here, but control comes from that ring finger. The pinky's nice and relaxed, okay? So that's where I get a lot of this, and just constant practice. If you can, take a video camera, take your smartphone, film yourself, watch yourself, and see if there's something not right in your timing. So one hand might be going a little bit faster than the other, that throws off your timing, or it may not be a complete alternate on this one. Okay, so even though it's a simple technique and easy training, the best payoff comes through hours and hours of work. Now make sure, again, pay attention to where the knuckles are, because this will be your blade edge, and you don't want to go in sideways swinging the blade. You want to have some nice clean technique with that. So put in the time, like I said, get a video camera, film yourself, watch yourself, and see if you can self-correct. And that will be a better way to develop your martial arts and your sword spinning. Now if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button down below. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Check out some of my other videos in the sword training playlist and some of my Kung Fu combinations, and be ready for more double sword spinning coming up and techniques. Till next time, this is Sifu Cuddle.
Bam! Fist with a forward.